Alright, picking up right where we left off yesterday. So there's actually a subject I wanted to talk about today, and it's basically why I like Armored Warfare over World of Tanks. And Armored Warfare is, right now, yes, a much less popular game than World of Tanks, but there's a reason for that, and the reason it came is that it came after World of Tanks, and so everyone thinks, I mean, that and the other game with modern tanks on Steam, which I haven't even played yet, because I haven't wanted to, people have been saying it's just a cash-in on what World of Tanks was doing, and the only question I'd like to ask is, how is it a cash-in when it's actually more conceivable to play Armored Warfare for free than it is to play World of Tanks for free, like actually free. You can play World of Tanks for free, I'm not saying you can't. The issue arises when you start getting to the higher tier tanks, and at that point, like after I think it's after tier 7, you have to start grinding hard to get the next tier tanks, and those higher tier tanks actually make less profit than tier 6 and tier 5 tanks. So basically, your options there are to A, grind some pretty profitable tier 5 and 6 normal tanks, or you can use the gift tanks that you get every so often, because those also make premium tank profit, but they're usually crappy. It's usually more like, hey, here's a garage slot for you to use, instead of, hey, here's an actually good tank to use. The only exception I found to that was the Toldi, which I still got rid of. Well, not the only exception. I still have my BT-7 artillery. I had the Toldi for a while, but I got rid of that because I just frankly needed the garage slot. Even though now I wouldn't need that garage slot anymore. I did back then, so Toldi got taken out of my garage because garage slot. But anyway, and then there's the other thing that World of Tanks just, I mean, the fact that Armored Warfare seems to have, I mean, it has less of a player base, but it has a nicer player base than World of Tanks, and I think part of the issue with the World of Tanks player base is the whole XVM thing, like the whole being worried about stats and predicting what a battle will go like based off people's stats, and what people seem to fail to realize is that stats are an overall rating, and XVM doesn't necessarily show you their recent games. It only shows you their overall rating, and it's pretty darn hard to get a rating to go back up after you've spent a whole bunch of time failing your way through a few tanks and then finally learning, oh, this is what I do with this tank and this place. And that's, to me, it's really stupid. And the fact that World of Tanks allows mods like that to me is stupid, because it just gives people more of a chance to be mean and really just say, I'm not going to listen to you because your stats are lower than mine. And that's not a good reason not to listen to someone. You never know. Maybe someone's good at strategy and just isn't good at driving their particular tank, or it has a pretty, maybe has gone up a line that has a few crappy tanks, or for some reason likes playing a pretty crappy tank. There are some people that play crappy tanks just for the quirks of them, like they look cool or they sound cool. I don't have issue with that, but apparently people take issue with it when it messes with statistics, and I'll go ahead and say it. I really don't care about statistics. I have a few friends that play the game that have, I wouldn't say they're terrible, they're just not as good as me, because I'm not going to say I'm great. And I mean, my win ratio is 49.5% on World of Tanks PC right now. But I think both on Xbox and World of Tanks Blitz, which are the two other versions of the game I play, I think my win ratio is more around 55 to 60%. And I'd have to check that to be sure, but I'm pretty sure that from my experience playing computer and then moving to those other two games, I'm pretty sure that experience carried over and netted into a better win-loss. And the thing is, like I said, that's over 12,500 battles of me playing on the computer. I might have, if I play some today, I might get to like 12,600 today if I play a few battles. I think I need like 50 or 55. But really, when you only look at stats, and also you don't need to get so worked up about random battles in World of Tanks. It's not like you're at the World Finals in World of Tanks. It's just bad. You just don't... If you're in a random battle and it doesn't go well, freaking chill. If you have to grind a couple matches in another tank just to play the tank you want to play because it's a higher tier tank, so be it. You don't need to put other people down for being bad at the game or being worse at the game than you, because they might not actually be that bad. They might have... Everyone has their bad games, everyone has their good games. I mean, evidence yesterday would be my T25-2 Mastery Badge Ace Tanker. That was a much better game than I usually have in that tank. And like I said yesterday, I'll admit, some of the reason I don't like that tank is probably because I don't do well in it. There probably are people that do well in it. Doesn't mean I'm absolutely terrible at the game. It just means maybe I don't favor that tank as much. I mean, if you look at stats for specific tanks, actually, I have almost a 50% win-loss in the T25-2, which I don't consider that bad. It's 49% actually, but I don't consider it that bad. And then there's my SU-100Y that I believe has a 56% win-loss. And once again, to me, I think that's pretty good. People may not. People may think it's awesome. People may think it's bad. I don't really care, because I have fun playing that tank. It's one of my favorite tanks, and I got it for free. It was an event. There was an event to log in like a couple Christmases ago, and I got my logins in, so I got to get the SU-100Y for free. And I mean, it's got a big gun, and the gun has nice penetration, but the fact is, you don't have any armor. And that brings me to the next point I have with World of Tanks, why I don't like it, and that is the premium shell spam. And the issue I have with that is people just, like, they don't even, there's not even an attempt. A lot of times, there's not even an attempt to use normal shells on a tank they could have penetrated normal shells with first. And these are top tier tanks that don't need those shells to penetrate the tanks that they're shooting at anyway, that I'm talking about. Like, they can easily penetrate the tanks that they're facing without the premium shells, and they just elect to fire premium anyway, because, you know, it doesn't take any kind of skill to aim a premium shell, unless you're in a bottom tier tank firing at a much higher tier tank, then maybe it does. But I do know that the premium shells on the T-25-2 have enough penetration to penetrate the front of a couple different tier 10 tanks, and to me that's a bit ridiculous. You're supposed to feel like a progression, and I think honestly what World of Tanks would need is no premium shells and +1, -1 matchmaking for all the tanks. Not the matchmaking they have right now where you can face tanks 2 tiers above you. A 1-tier spread would do a lot better for balancing and matchmaking reasons. However, I doubt World of Tanks will do this because they've had this system in place for so long. They probably think it's fine. And the fact that it just be, I don't know, I don't really want to say difficult, because I don't think it'd be that difficult, but maybe, I don't know, it just, some of the stuff they've done with that game doesn't make sense. One of the things that I really didn't like about that was when they decided, you know, we're going to have these premium tanks because no one likes to buy the ones with the crappy penetration and everything. Well, that's true. How they could have solved this problem is by making reskinned versions of the normal average tanks, and then being like, okay, here you go, here's a reskinned version of the tank, you give us some money, you get a reskinned version that has premium earnings, and that would have been fine. The way they did it, though, is like, oh, no one likes these tanks that have crappy stats penetration-wise. I mean, you know, go figure. But then they go and they're like, okay, since no one likes these tanks with crappy stats penetration-wise, let's introduce these tanks that still have sort of bad penetration, but are, because of their other stats, actually sort of, I mean, can be very, 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 very unfair when they're driven by someone who knows what they're doing with it, who knows how to exploit the strengths of it, because they do get very good strengths on those premium vehicles, on some of those premium vehicles. I mean, I'm not gonna say overpowered because they're really not, but it's just annoying sometimes to face one of those premium vehicles. And one of the worst ones they did is something everyone who plays World of Tanks and watches the Mighty Jingles, or I think it's Sir Fosh, would already know, is that really, really stupid thing that they tried to pull with the German premium heavy tank, that tanks of tier 10, I think it was, I forget what tier the heavy tank was, but tanks of tier 10 were struggling to penetrate it with normal rounds, and it was struggling to penetrate, you know, the tanks it was facing with normal rounds. And so then you have a thing where it's like, oh yeah, you both players in this situation, both the driver of that premium tank and the players fighting it, need to have premium rounds to even actually make a fight out of this. Otherwise, it's going to be rolling one way or the other, which one carried premium rounds. And that was bad. That was really bad. And then they had that whole community thing explode in their face over it, and then they, you know, sort of tried to apologize. They're like, no, wait. And then they shot themselves in the foot because apparently the community people for Wargaming on the EU cluster and Wargaming in the US cluster they're apparently not in sync with each other as far as decisions go, because one said one thing and one said another, and that caused even more confusion. And just basically, to put it how the Mighty Jingles put it, Wargaming was trying to douse a fire with gasoline, and that worked about as well as you'd think it would, and they got themselves in a pretty bad spot. And Jingles actually quit being being a community contributor because of all that crap. And I support him 100%. That was bad. There was no way that should have happened ever. There's no way anyone should have thought that choice was okay. But, you know, I guess the best thing I can say here is that, you know, as with everything else in life, money talks. Wargaming wanted that cash, wanted that green. They saw a way to make it. They took it. And when a YouTuber didn't like it, made a video about it, and Wargaming didn't really like the video he made about it, they sort of had a knee-jerk reaction to it, said some stuff they shouldn't have said, did some stuff they shouldn't have did, and they got in a really tight spot because of it. And I say deserved. The way they've been going with that game, I definitely say deserved. I used to like that game a lot more, and I don't anymore. I mean, there's also the fact that there are tanks that are in the game right now, and I mean, this was probably inevitable, but it wasn't there when I first started playing the game. There are tanks in the game that punish you for playing other tanks the way they're supposed to be played, which shouldn't happen, really. It's ridiculous. And I can't believe decisions like that make it through, and Wargaming's like, oh yeah, well, that looks like a good change. Let's do it. And it's like, it's really just, it's the reason why my last few battles in World of Tanks have only been like the past 3 days, and I'm trying to get myself back into it. I'm trying to get myself to like it again, but it's hard to get yourself to like it again. And the first thing I was greeted with coming back to World of Tanks was actually a survey. And, you know, I've taken World of Tanks surveys before. Usually they just ask a few things about the game, like if you like the feature, if you didn't care about this feature, if you use this feature, you know. It's usually all that general stuff. Well, you know, this time the survey asked how I'm spending my time. And I find that to be a bit personal. It's like, Wargaming, I agreed to the survey because I thought you were surveying me on what I thought, on what I enjoyed about the game, what I didn't like about the game, so you can actually get your feedback and make improvements to the game, not how much time I'm spending in other games or doing other stuff, like working or, you know, cleaning around my house or doing stuff out with family. I didn't expect that kind of those kind of questions to come up in a World of Tanks survey, and I guarantee you the next survey you guys put up, unless you can guarantee me that it's not going to have questions that I would consider personal, I'm just not going to answer any more surveys for you guys. That, to be honest, that made me feel uncomfortable. It was like, why are these questions you're asking your players? I mean, seriously, why is how they're spending their time that important to you? Obviously, it's important to you because you want them playing your game. Okay, but if it's like that, if you're just interested in how much they're playing your game, you know, don't you guys have a system that keeps track of how much they play your game, like how long they're logged in? I mean, I thought you already knew this stuff, because Steam already knows this stuff. I mean, heck, last night when I started playing Farming Simulator before I started the stream, because I actually played Farming Simulator for about 2 hours, it went from 27 hours played to 29 hours played by the time I was finished with the live stream and got off. Steam tracks the amount of time I'm playing these games that I have. I thought all games had something like that. I thought all developers knew how often people were playing their games because they have a simple system that tracks the amount of time their players are playing it. But apparently either Wargaming doesn't, or they don't trust it. Like they think you're being like logged in and then walking away, which I've never personally done, unless I have a family member call me. If I'm logged into World of Tanks, I'm probably playing it. I might be doing something in the garage, I might not be actually battling, but I am playing the game. And to me, those questions were a bit ridiculous and a little bit personal, because it's none of Wargaming's business how I spend my time outside playing their game. And that's basically what those questions were asking. And, I mean, I could have said something about this on my T25-2 video, but Farming Simulator is just a better video to just comment about random stuff or stuff you really have on your mind. And that's what's really on my mind right now, is why Wargaming needs to know how you're spending your time outside of playing their game. Like, are they going to put more advertisements up in, like, bookstores or something? Because I spend time reading. And I spend time. Are they going to put advertisements up at my work? Because I spend quite a bit of time there. You know, that was literally one of the questions: is how much time you spend at work or something. It's like, Wargaming, you know, what are you going to do? Come to my work and put computers in it and be like, there, now you can play World of Tanks at break. You can log in and play World of Tanks at break. I doubt it. I highly doubt it. I work at a woodworking company that I'm not even sure that World of Tanks would be aware of. I mean, those questions, I'm not answering surveys for World of Tanks anymore, because, I mean, Wargaming in general, because that was stupid. I mean, ask me about the game, fine. Ask me, I mean, even the question about how much I play the game, fine. The questions about how much time I spend playing other games or how much time doing other stuff outside of World of Tanks, that's not okay. Leave that out of your surveys, Wargaming. That's not something I want to answer for a company like you. Those are questions that I'd like maybe answer for friends if they ask me, because they're trying to make plans or something. That's not a question I usually would answer for pretty big company like a gaming company or anything. And that's the problem I have with it. And that's another part of the problem I have with World of Tanks. And it's just the actual issue here is that they're trying too hard. They know they're losing players from stuff that they did, and they're trying too hard to gain players back, and all it's actually going to do is probably lose them more in the process. What they really need to do is really actually do what they say they've been trying to do, and actually listen to their players. All gaming companies will say, yeah, we listen to our players, but there are very few that actually do it. And more of the games that actually listen to their players about stuff to change and stuff to add is the indie games. I've played a few indie games, and I've honestly liked a lot of them, a lot more than I've liked any single, like, big AAA developer game, or say, like, games that are simple and don't include microtransactions, except you can buy DLC, but you don't need it to have the full experience of the game. For instance, this game, Farming Simulator 2017, I don't need DLC for this to be a good game. It's just a good game on its own. Now, whether you consider it a good game or not, that's your personal opinion. I consider it a good game because I like it. I find it relaxing. I find it a good game to talk about stuff over, which is why I'm streaming it. Because probably most of what I'm going to be doing on streams is talking, unless I'm playing like an action-y game. Because if I don't say anything and I'm just playing this, it's actually pretty boring, and I know that. I understand that. But it's a good game to talk about other stuff. And, you know, it's just... the way games have been going lately, leading even more toward microtransactions and stuff, it's stupid. I mean, everyone's heard about Star Wars Battlefront 2, the new one, and I will always say, when I say Battlefront or Battlefront 2, I will always say the new one. I played the original Battlefront and the original Battlefront 2. Those were good games. The newer ones have not been, in my opinion. Opinions may vary, but the new ones just, to me, do not hold a candle to the old ones. Graphics? Oh, yeah, the graphics got better. So freaking what? So freaking what? You know, a remastered HD graphics version of Star Wars Battlefront 2, the original one, would have done really well. So would Battlefront 1, just remastered. But of course, you know, since remasters only usually cost, like, you know, $30 or something, what all that these big companies like EA see is, oh, well, that's not a full release price. What are we gonna do with that? And it's like, you would have sold a lot of copies though, because it's a well-known, you know, it was a very well-received game by and large, from what I can tell. And from me playing it, I like that game a lot. But of course, you know, and another thing that the Mighty Jingle said that I definitely agree with. When EA made their apology about Star Wars Battlefront 2, they were not apologizing because of the microtransactions. They were apologizing because people finally got fed up with the microtransactions and were like, no, not happening. They were apologizing because they took it too far, and people are like, hold up here. This ain't right. And that is the only reason they apologized. It's not from any negativity the game received because of the microtransactions. It's because people actually responded with their wallets, and stocks for EA dropped. That's the only reason they're doing anything is because their stocks dropped. And the way I see it, if that's the only way we're able to get through to the developers, oh, well then, so be it. If they do something you don't like, don't spend any money on them. I stopped spending money on World of Tanks a while ago. I would a lot, like, say, maybe 10 or 20 bucks a month for a while. Since I got my job and since I started saving, and that 10 or 20 bucks wasn't hurting anything. It was like, yeah, I can spend this and be comfortable with it. Oh, you know, then all this crap happens with World of Tanks, and it's like, really, guys? Nah, come on. I like, and here's why I'm ticked about stuff that World of Tanks done in recent memory. And it's because, okay, I defended the game to friends, alright? I defended some of the microtransaction stuff in World of Tanks to friends, alright? And it feels like, you know, it feels sort of like betrayal. It's like, you know, I told my friends about your game. I told them your game was great, and then you're all like, and then you go and you're like, oh, by the way, here's all these microtransactions that, you know, aren't necessary, but, you know, if you want to have, you know, you might want to do them if you want to have, you know, much fun. You know, you can have fun without them, but your progression's going to go faster if you use them, if you catch our drift. You know, you're going to be able to get to those tanks that you really want a lot faster, you know. It's just give us some cash and yeah, we'll make this work for you. And it's like, okay, I understand. Your game is free to play. You have to have money to keep the servers up. That I understand. What I don't understand is why you didn't just do it through cosmetics. You did it through things that actually affect gameplay, like a premium tank or these shells that I guess you can't. Everyone used to call them premium shells, now they're just called gold. The reason they are just called gold now is because you can buy them with the normal currency, which is silver, in World of Tanks. The issue with doing that is, as soon as you fire one or two of those rounds in a match, your profitability in any tank, really, just went out the door. Like, you can forget about being profitable for that match. It's not gonna work. And the only reason it got changed so you could actually, you know, buy the premium shells with normal in-game currency is so people can't say, oh, you know, this is pay to win. And Wargaming saw that criticism coming, and then they changed it. So you can't exactly say it's pay to win, but trust me, guys, it is pay to progress. Pay to progress faster past tier 7, 8, 9. Tier 1 through 6, alright? Great game, tier 1 through 6. You get past tier 1 through 6, not fun anymore. Not fun anymore. It's why I end up playing my lower tier tanks a lot more than my higher tier tanks. I have more fun at the lower tiers. And, you know, I know this really just turned into a rant about horrible practices by these big companies, but it's something that people ignored for the longest time, and it's something that I saw as being wrong like a couple years ago. Like, I saw, okay, Destiny 1, right? Alright, now if you go and play the game and you have all of its DLCs, okay, not so bad. when it first launched, which is, I got it on sale, not when it first launched, and I'm so glad I got it on sale. If I spent $60 on Destiny 1, I would have felt robbed. Alright? Because from what I saw, my friends basically told me which parts of the progression were in which DLC. And the game didn't actually get good until the Taken King, okay? And then they got it to where it was sort of good. So I'm like, alright, you know. And then I saw that every time a new DLC came out, there was a new package that you could get that DLC in and, you know, have the stuff that everyone else had, but get it cheaper than they had total. If you bought the game and then bought all the DLCs separately, or if you bought the game with the season pass and then bought the last DLCs, you paid more than someone who bought the game at the end of its I'm just gonna call it its lifespan, because Destiny 2 is out now, and a lot of people did move to Destiny 2, but there are still a lot of people playing Destiny 1, and the reason for that is that Destiny 2, yeah, it had a better story to it, but it also, it's about gonna be the same thing, and you can already tell. And I don't even know if I'll go farther than the 2 DLCs I'm already getting, because I bought the season pass. You know, the first one just dropped, which I might go play at some point. That's on Xbox, so that won't be getting streamed unless it's to my Twitch channel. But, I mean, the way developers have gone about making their money in recent years, a lot of this stuff is starting to get pretty underhanded, and it's like, really? Like, you don't think people are eventually going to get fed up with you? I mean, you see, perfect example of someone who's been fed up with it and has been trying to fight it, and that would be Angry Joe. If you go and watch Angry Joe's YouTube channel, I love his game reviews, especially when it's a game that has elements that are pay to win or pay to progress faster or pay to have an advantage, and he has the corporate commander come into it. I find his videos entertaining and also informative about the game. Like, usually he doesn't influence what I buy. For instance, I know Need for Speed Payback on his channel did pretty darn horrible. I still bought Need for Speed Payback, and the reason I still bought it was, well, A, his review hadn't come out yet, and B, I like Need for Speed. Okay? My personal opinion on Need for Speed Payback: ruined. Ruined, ruined, ruined. One step forward, the last Need for Speed release, 2 steps back with Payback. Loot, the type of things that they have is basically, there's basically a loot box system. What you don't need, you can grind races and stuff for the parts you want. But the speed cards are stupid because it's RNG progression. And I've always hated RNG progression, because that means some players will progress faster than others and stuff because they'll get higher level parts that drop sooner. And it's really a bad, it's just bad. It really is. And it's just, it's not cool. It's not. And, you know, I mean, Payback, I finished it. I know, I think I have Season Pass for that as well. So I'll probably try any DLCs that come out for it. But I personally, unless it's guaranteed that there will be no microtransactions, no loot box systems, no speed cards, I will probably not touch another Need for Speed title. This is probably where Need for Speed's gonna end for me. I've played, okay, here's my Need for Speed history, fellas. I played a Hot Pursuit game that was on the GameCube. I don't remember which one. I think it was 3, alright? I played Underground 1, Underground 2. I played Most Wanted. Most Wanted is my favorite Need for Speed game of all time, and that seems to be a common consensus. Most Wanted in 2005, by the way. It's just, it amazes me how badly developers can be like, yeah, okay, well, this game did pretty well, let's remake it. And then remake it crappy! How do you do that? You made the game once. How do you screw it up the second time around? Games should get better on their second iteration, on their sequel. I mean, you know, it's terrible. It is. It really is. It's just bad. And I mean, and the thing is that some people I talked to, I was still in school at the time. Destiny 2, Destiny 1 came out, and everyone's like, oh yeah, that game's pretty good. And I'm like, are you sure? Because you're paying a buttload for DLC that should have been with the game in the first place. And they're like, well, it's just how games work now. That is the mentality that let gaming companies do what they've done up to this point. And that is why everything is so messed up. It's because gaming companies are now like, okay, people aren't crucifying us over doing this. This must be fine. We must be okay to do this. There must be no repercussions for this. And now, just since we got to the fact that it's so bad, now people are finally like, hold up, this ain't right. And the developer's probably like, well, what do you mean this isn't right? You've been fine with this up so far. And it's like, no, we've been fine with a certain amount, and now we're not. And then the developers are just like, oh, sorry, let us bring it back to the amount of bad that you're used to. We'll scale it back until people are happy enough with getting basically, you know, cheated out of their cash. We'll back it off until you're okay enough with that you leave us alone and don't bother us about it. But then that's it, you know, because that's all we can hope for now, because they think this is okay, because we've let them think it's okay. And it's just, I've never, at any point, it's just, it's disgusting. It really is. Just how they think, oh, we can treat, you know, customers this way, and there's not any repercussion for it at all. It's not how that industry should work, but it's how it has been working for a while. And I think that's the first time I've had a legitimate rant on stream, or on a video. Well, I had a bit of a one about a DayZ admin once, and I told my story about it, and that, you know, that was okay. That was back when I played DayZ, and I don't play the mod anymore. I either play standalone or I play Arma 3. I think it's Wasteland mod. But anyway, what I'm going to go do now is I'm going to go do some of these, like, you know, these random jobs, and I'm going to make some cash for my farm, because what I forgot is that normal mode in this game starts you out with a loan, so I can't just, if I want to get the max amount of profitability, I can't just do my own farm. I have to go do these little ones, or the bigger fields as well. Like, it's not really a choice. I wonder how these are going to work with the realism mods, because I have to get out of the tractor to... Or... Okay. Okay. Paying me 8,000 euros? Sure, I'll do it. please tell me I'm able to get out of the Combine so I can actually attach my stuff, because I have the realism mods on. Okay, I can. Alright, good. But yeah, I'm gonna be quiet for a bit because I think I need to cool it a bit. To suggestions on what people would like to have streamed, like if there's a game or something that you don't have that I have, I could stream that for you so you can see some gameplay of it from typically either average or bad, because let's face it, most of the games I play that you guys have seen, I'm either average or bad. And, let's see. There's, Arma 2, Operation Arrowhead that I can play. I don't know if, maybe Attack Realism server, possibly. I can play Armored Warfare for a stream. I have Flat Out 1 and 2 that I can play. I have MechWarrior Online, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, but literally everyone is streaming that, and it's just the thing to do right now, and I don't really care what the thing to do right now is. I do my own things, but you know. If you want to see a game, suggest it, and if I have it and feel like playing it, it might end up as a stream. Might. I'm not gonna say definitely. By the way, if anyone watching this would be on the fence about Farming Simulator, if you want a game that's just to, you know, shut off, chill, just have something to do, like other than other stuff you would usually be doing, like watching TV or something that's a little interactive, but not so interactive that, you know, you have to have your brain constantly active to play it. It's a good game to unwind. It's a good game to just sort of chill after a work day. I would also like to give a big thank you to anyone that has subscribed since I last uploaded regularly, which was about a lot of videos that I had uploaded like semi-regularly are from like a year ago, and I've gained a few subs since then, and I just thank you guys. I'm never gonna expect this channel to grow much past the amount of subscribers that I currently have, and every new subscriber is just like, oh, you know, thank you. And it's nice to know that some people like what I'm doing. I mean, really, it's just because I have basically, it's basically a hobby alongside my train. I have a train set that I sort of add on to and, you know, mess around with as a hobby. And then I have drawing as well, which I'm trying to get better at, actually having to relearn stuff, and relearning stuff that you thought you knew, but sort of like taught yourself wrong. It's hard and it's frustrating, but I do like to draw, so it'll all be worth it in the end. But it's gonna take a while before I'm where I want to be with drawing, and I don't even know. I mean, I'm getting a pad for helping with drawing on the computer this Christmas, but I don't know really how much drawing I'm going to do on the computer, because I've never been good at drawing on the computer. That the only drawings I've ever had that I consider good have been, you know, literal paper, pencil, colored pencils. You know, it's stuff that I've physically drawn, not stuff that I've drawn digitally. But part of that could be attributed to the fact that I don't have, you know, the writing pad that some people do for drawing on the computer. It's probably makes a whole world of difference. I'm not sure. It's actually snowing right now outside, which is interesting because it's the first actual snow I've seen this year. Oh yeah, and the reason the stream doesn't have music is because there's not music that I would like to have on the stream currently, because, okay, if I have music on the stream, it's gonna be something that I like. And the problem with the stuff that I like is that, for the most part, none of it's instrumental. A lot of it's like actual songs, because I really like listening to instrumental. And I can't, you know, play those as stream music because copyright. I mean, I could always get some, I guess I could always find some cool songs from NCS, but, you know, it's just not really my kind of music. I tend to be Skillet, Disturbed, so Skillet, Disturbed, Demon Hunter, tend to be more around those kind of bands. Linkin Park I do like. Yeah. So if I can find music that I legitimately like, I'll put it on the stream. But otherwise, it's just gonna be just whatever I say and whatever friends, and it's just gonna be whatever I'm saying and whatever my friends are talking to me about through stuff like the Xbox app or TeamSpeak or whatever. So, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Myself an entertainer. I don't think anyone else should consider me an entertainer. I just play games, that's all. That was a nice tidy little profit. Let's run up and do this one. Holy moly! That's some good cash. Dosh. Must get the dosh. I've never been a huge fan of the corn headers in the Farming Simulator games. The animations for it don't match up, or the amount of corn it takes don't match up with where it's actually going. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have reached the halfway point in our little mission here. Yes, Farming Simulator. Tons of fun. At least it is. At least it is for me, and I even managed to get my little brother into it, so... And I would be streaming racing games, but my controller's gone lazy eye, so can't exactly play a racing game with a lazy eye controller. I mean, I can. I have it set up so it's using the other analog stick to steer, but it's just, it feels weird, and it's just still fun to play. It's just sometimes I forget which analog stick is steering and end up hitting a wall, because I'm not used to steering with the right analog stick. I'm used to steering with the left analog stick. But oh well. Technical difficulties, got to deal with them as they come. I'll get a new controller at some point. I don't feel like doing it right now, per se, because right now I'm actually more into playing games that are actually good to be controlled with WASD, like this and World of Tanks and other shooters. Actually, I wonder if I should really look more into it. I don't know if radio streams can be copyright struck, because if they can't, I might play American Truck Simulator because I like playing that, but I only like playing it while listening to TFM. go. Show me the money. Now let's head back to the farm. And that'll be it for now. I need a break.